Can you help me identify who this guy is? He's not a movie actor, by the way. What about this? If that is me also, this is me standing in front of you today. Can you guess what the differences are? Be honest. Be honest. I know what you will say. Thank you very much for recognizing the changes in my life, the progress in me, and my history. Now you know, right? You don't have to ask me why. You just give me the solution. Looking at 65 years seems to be very long. Many people do not see their future. Many people has no concept of what their future will be. They just want to enjoy life today and enjoy it forever. There's someone who is so intelligent who wrote a book about his experiences in life. And if you tell him that you have so much accomplishment in life, he would say to you, been there, done that. I've been there. Everything that you have experienced, I made 3 or 5 times of what you have experienced. According to him, his findings was, as a matter of fact, he was able to write a book of his findings in his exploration of life. He says, meaningless, meaningless. Life is meaningless. If you will hear that statement from someone whom you claim or whom you think is someone intelligent and has seen life all the way through, would you follow him? This is the reason why this guy wrote the book Ecclesiastes. He calls himself the teacher. We call him King Solomon. King Solomon was the 3rd king of Israel. And in his term, okay, there was no war in Israel. So, what will a king do that has no obligation what to do? Will he just eat? He will be fat like me. So what did he do? He was able to write a book about his experiences, about his observations of life, about the things that he has experienced during the time when he was living as a king with all the resources that he had, with all the powers that he had. He was able to explore what life is, what it will be to have convenience in life, what will please me. I don't have anything to do. I just as well enjoy this wealth that I have. If he will be with us today, he will be the guy who will be coming in with the latest of latest gadget on his head, on his arm. He will be the guy who has the pleasantry in his face, a heartthrob to everyone. Can we beat that? Do you have any experience that you can claim you had it? He would say, been there, done that, but life is meaningless. But Solomon, being the king of Israel, had something more to say about life being meaningless. His question was, is there anything else that I can discover under the sun? Because everything that we see around, everything that engrosses us, everything that allows us to deduct the seemingly important things, but devote ourselves to seemingly important ones, are the things that may draw us out from what is really important. So his quest was, is there anything else that I can discover under the sun? Sounds like this guy is frustrated in his life. He seems to be pessimistic about life. He seems to be depressed about the experiences in life, despite all the resources that was given to him during his period. Everything is meaningless, says the teacher. And it is completely meaningless. Who among you here is able to identify with this author that you have done many things in life so far, even if you're age 40 and below, you think you have done so many things because of your too much engrossed in everyday life, in everyday work, to the point that you wanted to retire early. Solomon seemed to be pessimistic in his view of life, and he has reason to believe that life is meaningless. He had fame, he had a family, he had fortune, and lots of fortune. He had women, and many, many women. He had knowledge, wisdom, and much wisdom. But yet, this guy was able to say, towards the end of his life, life is meaningless. But to him, in doing all this every day, with all gusto, with everything that I have, there is no return. Everything goes on and on. Life repeats. The things that I strive for today, if I pass it on tomorrow to another person, my monument will be knocked down. Meaningless. Meaningless. It's nothing. Do you think your life has no meaning? Ecclesiastes records man's search for significance. So Solomon has tried everything to please himself, to find out what really matters in life. So he had all these pleasures in his hunt for happiness was never ending until the point when he can conclude life is meaningless, the chasing of the wind. So the title of this conversation would be A Life of Meaning. What does it bring us to? There will be so many things in life that we would concentrate in doing. We would try our best to be the best in this field. But at the end, we will find out that it has no meaning at all. Gigising ka ng umaga para tumakbo ka sa airport because your duty is early in the morning. End up in the afternoon only to go back home and sleep. But life goes on and on. It's that routine every day. Do you think your life has meaning? That is why the author of this book concluded that as he experienced his life, with all the pleasures around him, with all the resources available for him, at the end, he concluded that they're all nothing. He does not leave us with that thought that life is meaningless. He pulled us out of that situation where he earlier concluded that life is meaningless. He brought us out of that to give us the hope, a hope of something that he has discovered and he has written down in his book. So there is something there that we need to understand and we need to take with us as we explore having a life that has meaning. But what is the key? Without God, your life today has no tomorrow. Who likes a life without tomorrow, without a future, without a hope? The reason why you are here is because you are hopeful that what Jesus Christ has promised us, it will happen. He says, meaningless, meaningless, but with God, our future is sealed. Our hope is guaranteed. It's sure. We will have life together with Christ. He will bring us back to God. And this is what He promised us. Today, our conversation on Ecclesiastes 12 will point us to knowing how it is that with God, we can have tomorrow. This is a warning. But it's a good message to take with us because when you look at someone else, and you will find out that this guy doesn't have God. He has no tomorrow. Knowing that people without God, their today will not have tomorrow, you will do what you needed to do for them to change their life. Let's go to chapter 12 of Ecclesiastes. We shall now be reading starting verse 1. As Solomon lives his life, he was observant of many things around him, many things that he experienced. And he starts off with this: remember your Creator in the days of your youth. O youth thou. So those who are above youth, maybe you can stand up and go. But hold on. Take patience. That is why you need to understand the entire book, because the youth here is very subjective. Okay? Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of troubles come, and the years approach when you will say, I find no pleasure in them. What does he mean? What does the author mean? Remember. First is, remember is a word that he used 7 times in the next succeeding verses. Okay? Do you remember those times when your dad calls you? Sak, come here, please. Wait, I'm doing something. Sak, please come. Wait, I'm doing something. Oh, yes, what? What did I intend to say? Never mind. Go. John. Oh, no, not John. What's his name? You have to enumerate all your children's name before you are able to say the name of your child. I'm not speaking to the youth. I'm speaking to those people who thinks they are in youth. But never mind, I will accept that because I'm part of that too. Do you know that infants don't grow hair yet? But the word remember here is not a simple and passing thought. Okay? Remember your Creator in the days of your youth. The reason why the author is saying remember, he does not mean that it will just be a passing thought. Remembering God does not only happen once when you play the guitar. Remembering God is not only once when you pass on the offering basket. Remembering God is not only during those times when you pray. It's not a passing thought. It is not a convenient thought that, now I remember. Oh, yeah, I remember. We're supposed to pray before meal. It's more than a casual and momentary thought. So when you hear the word remember, it alerts you to take out that illusion that I can be independent from God. I have to depend on God. Everything that I want to sustain my family in the Philippines. But you know what is left behind is just nothing. Almost nothing. God? Now you begin to mention God. Did you just mention His name, or was He there, living inside? Was He part of your life? That you can always call on upon Him and not declare yourself to be independent from Him. I'll study first. John, you stay there, Creator. I'll study first. Let me play this game first. I have a net gaming. Keep quiet. No. So how do we treat God? Do we remember Him only incidentally? Or do we remember Him as part of our life? This is a very important pattern that we should have. Because if we will live this life so that our life today will have tomorrow, that means we need to enclothe ourselves with the purpose of God for our lives. What is the number one purpose of God in our lives? Christ-likeness, right? Until the time that we are living like Christ. Jesus Christ said, "You call me Lord, Lord, but you don't obey me." How do you practice that? There are so many things that engross me, that engulfs me. How do I practice that pattern in life? Start doing it now. Because when you train yourself to remember your Creator, you will live the purpose of your Creator. Amen? Okay? So, it's best that we put that into practice. Now, okay, that was a preview of what's going to happen to those who are starting it. Those who would like to start it now. Because the next verses will be a warning for you before you get there. Remember him before the light of the sun, the moon, and the stars is dim to your old eyes. The rain clouds continually darken your sky. This is a poetic book, by the way. There will be troubled times. What are those troubled times? You observe your parents. When they wake up in the morning, what do they say? Oh, my leg is hurting. Papa, why do you have pajama? It's not pajama. Those are plasters. I went to bed with plasters. I have rheuma. Troubled times. Before that day comes, remember God. Natatawa kayo, mukhang nandun na kayo. There will be troubled times. Times when you cannot do any longer the things that you used to do before. But are you ready? Are you ready, guys? That's the question now. Do you want to see more? Or do you want to go home? Do you want to be dismissed? There will be times when the muscles will collapse. They will deteriorate. You will not be the He-Man of yesterday. But you will be a man that needs help. You start to droop. Your body drops. You start to have difficulty of memories. What am I about to say? So today, it's only me who has the excuse to read my notes, right? Because I am also in that stage of life. So he says, as we grow old, we better remember God. Remember him before your legs, the guards of your house start to tremble. Your teeth will get lost. Yeah? Your teeth, the original teeth, by the way, will only end up to how much maintenance you do. That is why it's very important to establish a pattern. What was the early pattern? This is the way I brush my teeth. Brush my teeth. So if you keep on brushing your teeth, you can extend the life of your teeth. But it depends if you have time for maintenance. But do you know that when you have dentures, you eat socially? You have knife and fork, right? Correct? Oh, so social! Wow! When he eats with knife and fork. Because you cannot bite the sandwich. What happens when you bite the sandwich? Tell me. Okay, you conclude. You already know, right? Your eyes see dimly. How many of us have eyeglasses? What's wrong? The eyesight become poor as you use them. Remember him before the door to life's opportunities close. On our way to YMCA, most of the times we get a driver who is old. And I would not miss the point to ask him, Uncle, hey, how come you drive so swiftly? How old are you? How young are you? No, I'm not young. I'm 70. Oh, 70. How come you're still driving? No, this is my last job. What do you mean last job? No one wants to hire me. The door to life's opportunities has been closed. The writer is telling us to remember God before the door to life's opportunities is closed. Before Singapore scraps out your past and say, we cannot use you anymore. There will be times when our eyes will grow faint. Our legs and arms will grow weak. The ears are not far behind from weakening. Have you heard old people talk to each other? How do they talk to each other? Ano sabi mo? Ha? What? You think they're quarreling? No, it's normal. The ears weaken. And before that day comes, better remember the Creator. Because you will not be hearing things anymore. And you will wake up in the morning with the chirping of the birds. Hey, there's a bird outside the window. Old people wake up so early. They go to bed late, they wake up early. So avoid birds. Remember Him before you became fearful of falling and worry about danger in the streets. Before your hair na naman, turns white like an almond tree in bloom. The writer is saying, before these days come, before you be afraid of falling, what do you do to avert falling? You do a cane, right? Or what do you call this? A glider, whatever, because you avoid falling. You know that in insurance, your TPD is only up to age 70? Because at age 70, you have this already. You will not fall anymore. Right? You have the necessary assistance for you to walk in 5 legs. But the writer is saying, before these days come, before you fear that you might fall while walking towards the ministry that you want to attend to, the koinonia that is so vibrant, they have been inviting you for long. Now, you have the time to go, but are you physically fit to go there? Before that day comes, when you are afraid of falling, when you are scared about losing your hair or them turning white, better remember your Creator. And this is worse. Remember your Creator before you drag along without energy like a dying grasshopper. You know grasshoppers, right? Have you observed the grasshoppers? They just transfer to the next leaf, right? But when they are old, they drag their feet. Before that day comes to human beings, better remember your Creator. Because without God, your life today will have no tomorrow. And what is caperberry here? Caperberry is an aphrodisiac. Okay? An aphrodisiac's intention is for you to be energized. But before these days come, because this has deteriorating value also. Before you say that it's almost, better remember your Creator before that time comes. When everything else that you think you can do, but you cannot do anymore, better remember your Creator. And when you remember your Creator, the earlier you remember your Creator, the better is the chance that you will walk your life that way towards Christ-likeness. And your tomorrow will be there. Amen? Because God is with you. Remember Him before you near the grave. Ay, mortal na. Ano na to? Your everlasting home, when the mourners will weep at your funeral. But for people to have that tomorrow, they need to have Christ. That is why Solomon says, remember your Creator in the days of your youth. Before these troubled times come, okay, know Him and remember Him. And why should I only remember Him before these things happen? No, it's not just to remember. When you remember God, you will have a quest for God. To find out who God is. What does this God want from me? Why does He want to be a part of my life. How do I live life that I will have satisfaction in my life? All this will happen once you start remembering God, knowing God, having God in your life, having God to rule your life, to manage your life, to partner with you as you live your life. Because He will bring you to Christ-likeness, to that kingdom Jesus Christ has promised us. But it's got to start right now. To some people who has not received Christ as their Lord and Savior, your day is today. Because without God, your today will have no tomorrow. Yes, remember your Creator now, while you are still young, while you are still youthful. Before the silver cord of life snaps and the golden bowl is broken, remember Him. Connect with Him. Because if you surpass all this, you will know that what remains in you are the things that you have enjoyed in your youth. Talk about parents or grandparents who will tell stories to their grandchildren. What stories do they tell you? My parents tell me about the Japanese occupation in the Philippines. What about the youth today? What will they tell their children tomorrow? Is it the internet games that they play? The gadgets that they had? Is that the life that has to be enjoyed today so that it will lead us to tomorrow? Life has to be meaningful. We don't want to be the follower of that meaningless. Life is meaningless. The chasing after the wind. What we want is a life with substance. A life that matters to God. A life that is ongoing, relying on God, living with God, and having God in everything that we will do, in everything that we will say, in everything that we will think about. Don't wait until the water jar is smashed at the spring and the pulley is broken at the wheel. These are days that will be fortuitous. They will be troubled times already. No way to turn back. Okay? For then the dust will return to the earth, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. Man was created out of dust, and man will return to dust. Are you ready or not? Do you have a tomorrow or not? Are your friends ready to have their tomorrow? If not, then you have a part. Everybody has a part in making other people's lives come and have a valuable tomorrow, a meaningful tomorrow. So everything is meaningless. What is the point of this message? We will come to that point in life when you want to have an enjoyment of the things that God has provided for you. You want to have an enjoyable life. But when you live your life like a social being, do this and do that, there's no satisfaction really. I started going to church when I was in the elementary, I would guess. I never failed attending church. Sing worship songs, listen to the message, but the message goes in, goes out. It took me 42 years before I came to realize that God they have been talking about before is a real God. A God whose mercies are unending. God whose love is really changing us. So when I heard that message from Pastor Butch in 1994, it was May 22 of 1994. I realized that God is giving me that ultimate chance. When I came to know the Lord, ultimately, He changed me. It came to a point in life when He finally called me. This is the day that I have made for you to accept me. What about you? Do you think that God has been calling you to know Him personally? It's an opportunity that you should take. Without God, life today has no tomorrow. Here now is my final conclusion according to the author. Fear God and obey His commands, for this is everyone's duty. God will judge us for everything we do, and also what we did not do, including every secret thing, whether good or bad. So, we need to remember God and do whatever you want. And this is me now. Many things change physically, but I'm sustained by the Lord. I thank the Lord for that. I can brush my teeth and whistle at the same time. There are things that I cannot do, okay? And there are things that I know you are also doing with me, like forgetting names, forgetting the things that you need to say. From this church, all we need is God in our lives. God has a purpose for us in this life. It's not just merely the enjoyment of the things that you have right now. It's not just merely enjoying your family, but enjoying all this with Him. And as you enjoy these things with Him, you share it with others. Let others know that there is tomorrow for them. Because without God, your life today has no tomorrow.
We're pilgrims on the journey on a narrow road, and those who've come before us line the way, cheering on the faithful, encouraging the weary. Their lives a stirring testament to God's sustaining grace. Surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us run the race not only for the prize, but as those who've come before us, let us leave to those behind us the heritage of faithfulness passed on through godly lives. Oh, may all who come behind us find us faithful. May the fire of our devotion light their way. May the footprints that we leave lead them to believe, and the lives we live inspire them to obey. Oh, may all who come behind us find us faithful.